The New York Yankees superstar Alex Rodriguez has said that he tested positive for drugs in 2003. At the time, there were no penalties for doping in baseball. But Rodriguez, who's baseball's highest paid player, said that when he tested positive, he realized he had to change.
It was at that point in bed that I realized, what am I doing? Not only am I going to hurt my baseball career, but I'm going to hurt my post career. And it was time to grow up, stop being selfish, stop being stupid, and take control of whatever you're ingesting. And for that, I couldn't feel more regret and feel more sorry.
Well, this is going to be discussed in the comment pages in the morning. With me is Deputy Comments Editor Patrick Granfield. And Patrick, first of all, for some of us who don't follow baseball too closely, tell us who Alex Rodriguez is and what the significance of him is.
All right, Crispin. Well, Alexander Rodriguez is not just the highest paid baseball player. He's actually one of the greatest players ever to play the game. He was the youngest player ever to get 500 home runs, doing so before his 30th birthday. He's known to be a great fielder. He's known to be a great competitor. But he's always had a criticism that he can't really perform in the clutch. But if you look at his numbers alone, he stands up there with the all-time greats like Babe Ruth or Hank Aaron or names like that people would probably recognize overseas.
So a massive figure in American sports. So what does this admission that he did test positive back in 2003 mean for the sport and also more broadly for American society?
Certainly for the sport, it's incredibly important because Alex Rodriguez, again, is probably one of the top 5 players. He's somebody who makes a lot of money doing sponsorship. He's somebody that plays in New York, so undoubtedly he gets huge media attention. So he's a huge superstar all over the country. For baseball, it means that really no longer they can blame this on really lower level players, on a pitcher here, an outfielder there. They have to realize and come to grips with the fact that it went all the way to the top to a player like Alexander Rodriguez and his teammate Roger Clemens, who is a pitcher on the New York Yankees. Now, for society, for American society, that's a particularly good question, Crispin, because baseball is never just baseball in America. It's America's pastime. It's supposed to be a symbol of something. And there's always been this idea that there's a purity to baseball. And this idea that one of the best players, Alexander Rodriguez, used steroids really defames that purity.
And in a leader, in one of the opinion pieces that you're writing for the paper in the morning, basically the comment desk is going to argue that this is also a metaphor, if we can put it that way, for the economic problems that the States is facing at the moment.
Certainly. Not too far from Yankee Stadium, where Alexander Rodriguez played, is Wall Street, where collateralized debt obligations, credit default swaps, all of these fancy financial instruments really bulked up profits and created the illusion of value. And that's really what Alexander Rodriguez and many of his teammates did in using steroids. They created an illusion of value, an illusion of success, and now we're finding out that it was really false and dishonest. And I think that sort of phenomenon pervades many levels of American culture, not just sport.
And interestingly, particularly for people in the region, Senator George Mitchell, who now, of course, is trying to sort out the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, but he, in a former incarnation, was involved with trying to clean up baseball.
Certainly. Baseball is probably as non-decipherable to non-Americans.
People like me.
People like you, Crispin, yes, as the Middle East peace process is for Americans. But George Mitchell was called in to investigate baseball. And he was called in because of his reputation of somebody who really pulled no punches, who could ask questions of both sides and really wasn't afraid to make enemies. Certainly Alex Rodriguez and many of his teammates may consider George Mitchell an enemy for starting this process, for moving it forward. But I think it's a great thing for America that we get to the bottom, that the world gets to the bottom of what went on, not just in baseball, but in all facets of life.